Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. All eyes on the National Assembly as President Tinubu is expected to present the 2026 budget today. The ranks of APC governors swell as Plateau's Caleb Mutwang dumps the PDP. Also, EU leaders unlock 90 billion euros loan lifeline for Ukraine as Russia asset deal stalls. We have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. Idong Joseph and Bettina Onweli join from the FCT, while Austin Azu is on standby in Delta State. We've got the details in a moment. Now, we started by telling you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is set to present the 2026 appropriation bill to a joint session of the National Assembly today, Friday, December 19, 2025. A formal communication from the presidency was read in the House of Representatives yesterday, notifying lawmakers of the president's appearance. Now, according to a letter signed by Admiral Essien Ayo Essien on behalf of the clerk of the National Assembly, Kamoru Ogunlano, President Tinubu will present the proposed budget at 2 p.m. Security and access protocols are in place, with all accredited personnel required at their posts by 11 a.m. and non-accredited persons advised to stay away. The presentation marks a key moment in Nigeria's fiscal calendar, allowing lawmakers to scrutinize and approve government spending plans for 2026. Also, President Bola Tinubu has directed state governors to comply with the Supreme Court judgment and hand over local government allocations directly to councils. Speaking at the APC National Caucus meeting in Abuja, Tinubu stressed that local government autonomy cannot exist without a funded mandate. He also revealed assurances to the United States and European Union that Nigeria would establish state police to address growing insecurity. The president urged governors and party leaders to show flexibility, inclusion, and grassroots engagement, especially at the local level. The National Caucus of Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress has met in Abuja, bringing together party leaders, governors, and top government officials. The meeting marked the first National Caucus session chaired by Nentawe Yilwada, who was recently appointed national chairman of the APC. A News Central State House correspondent, Bettina Onweli, reports.
President Bola Tinubu has called on political leaders to actively engage governance at the state and local government levels, stressing that effective leadership at the grassroots is critical to national stability. He expressed confidence that proposed reforms, including the passage of state police to strengthen security, will succeed with the support of the ruling party.
I had a very long discussion with the US and European. I was bragging to them that definitely we will pass a state police to improve security.
The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, disclosed that lawmakers have taken decisive steps to classify kidnapping as terrorism, a move that could attract the death penalty once signed into law. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima described the APC as a force of nature, citing the party's growing dominance across key geopolitical zones.
Out of the 7 states in the northwest, 5 are in the APC. Out of the 6 states in the southwest, 4 are in the APC. Out of the 6 states in the northeast, 4 are in the APC. Certainly, we have become a force of nature.
We have also taken steps in the Senate to take bold decisions aimed at deterring those who want to join banditry, one of which is we have ensured that kidnapping joins the rank and file of terrorism, and therefore kidnappers will now face death sentence once the president assigns the new bill into law.
As the nation gradually looks towards the 2027 polls, political leaders are projecting unity and reassurance, while citizens hope these promises would lead to lasting security, inclusion, and economic stability. In Abuja, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
Now, the All Progressives Congress has announced the defection of Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutwang from the People's Democratic Party. APC National Chairman Nentawe Yelwata disclosed the move at the party's 14th National Caucus meeting in Abuja, declaring the entire North Central now under APC control. Mutwang, elected on the PDP platform in 2023, becomes the latest high-profile politician to exit the opposition party. At the meeting, the APC also issued a January 30th, 2026 deadline for all members to complete electronic registration, citing transparency and internal democracy. The caucus meeting drew President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima, APC governors, lawmakers, and top party leaders. Now, troops of the Nigerian Army's 8th Division garrison have launched a coordinated operation against bandit enclaves across Sokoto and Zamfara States, killing 5 suspects. The early morning offensive targeted Gangara, Makawana, Satiru, Baiji, and Kurkusu villages in Isa local government area of Sokoto State. The operation later spread to Batamna village in Shinkafi local government area of Zamfara, where troops encountered resistance from armed elements. Weapons, motorcycles, and bolting communication radios were recovered, dealing a blow to bandit logistics along the Sokoto-Zamfara axis. The Nigerian Army says that it remains committed to ensuring adequate welfare for its troops and personnel, promising to adhere to its soldiers first philosophy in all its operations. This is as the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Y.D. Shaibu, visited soldiers who had sustained injuries in the line of duty against insecurity and others with health challenges. The soldiers are currently being attended to at the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, Kaduna, where the Army Chief also hosted a luncheon, promising them of the Army's determination to ensure their quick recovery. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu tells us more.
Many here were delighted for the visit, as it also served as a confidence-building measure to assure these soldiers that they are not alone. With the Army Chief pushing for the soldier-first concept philosophy, the visit is proof that the Army is ensuring that the lives and health of each soldier must be accounted for, and this hospital visitation and luncheon is just one of the instances. Representing the Chief of Army Staff, the Commander of the Nigerian Army 1 Division, who was also represented by his Chief of Staff, Brigadier General Timothy Oprum, says that the event was organized to appreciate the wounded soldiers and medical personnel supporting their recovery.
One of the pillars of the Chief of Army Staff's command philosophy, soldier first concept. Chief of Army Staff was here 3 weeks ago to see you in your various wards, where he assured you of his commitment to your well-being.
The Chief Medical Director of the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital, Kaduna, Brigadier General Godwin Ogo, appreciated the courage and selflessness of the wounded soldiers who defended the nation.
But also to say, in a very clear and heartfelt way, you are not forgotten, you are honored, and you are deeply appreciated. It is because of how deeply valued you are that the Chief of Army Staff, who visited you 3 weeks ago, has packaged this special event to honor you. This hospital is more than a place of treatment. It's a place of healing.
The spouses and loved ones who bear the weight of separation, uncertainty, and constant prayers. Your strengths and resiliences give deeper meaning to the service we honor today.
The chairperson, Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, Division 1, Halima Tefidawase, presented gifts to the wounded in action personnel. In Kaduna for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
Founding stakeholders of the Hisbah institution in Kano State have declared the creation of an independent Hisbah board illegal, warning that the move could deepen divisions and threaten the state's fragile peace. The warning follows recent tensions triggered by former Kano State Governor and immediate past acting national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Abdullahi Ganduje, who announced plans to establish an independent Hisbah squad. The proposal has been widely criticized by stakeholders, many of whom described it as a political move rather than a security or religious necessity. The controversy sparked heated exchanges among key actors and prompted the Kano State Government to ban the proposed independent Hisbah. Speaking at a press briefing at the Nigerian Union of Journalists Secretariat in Kano, the Kano State Hisbah Stakeholders Forum said the move undermines the existing unified Hisbah structure in the state. Now, still on insecurity, the Nigerian Union of Teachers has issued a strong warning over the rising insecurity in schools across the country. The national president of the union, Comrade Titus Amber, says teachers may be forced to withdraw their services nationwide if government fails to address the growing threats to safety in learning environment. Now, his warning comes amid renewed attacks on schools, particularly in parts of northern Nigeria, where recent incidents include the abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi State, the kidnapping of hundreds of students in Niger State, and attacks on pupils in Kwara State. You're live with us on 12 Report. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Before we went on the break, we did hint at the fact that for a long time, analysts, businessmen, and even citizens in general have been awaiting the 2026 appropriation bill. And now, Tinubu is set to present the bill to a joint session of the National Assembly today, being Friday, the 19th day of December 2025. And right now, we have News Central's correspondent, Idong Joseph, joining us from the National Assembly complex. Idong Joseph, it's about to be what we would see heightened security, a couple of persons present to witness the presentation of the proposed bill. What is the mood like where you are currently at the National Assembly?
Okay, from what we've observed since we got here is it's a different thing from what you just mentioned, crowd here. I think that is because the budget presentation is going to be taking place by 3 p.m. this afternoon. But from all we have observed is that all is being set and ready for the president to appear before the joint session of the National Assembly to make the budget presentation this afternoon. But for now, what we've seen so far, starting from the gates, the entrance of the National Assembly, there's a beef up of security presence there, and you have to pass about 3 security points before you get into the main hall where the chambers, the both chambers are. And this session today is going to be taking place in the House of Representatives chamber, which is capable of accommodating over 500. And so the joint session is going to take place there. But now the crowd around here are just of party loyalists, and also some lawmakers have begun to arrive here. We've seen a couple of them coming in, hoping that more of them will come before the time. And to note that the reason why this session is going to be happening by 3, because the president had earlier sent a letter to the both chambers requesting that he's going to make the presentation by 2 p.m. But some lawmakers earlier yesterday requested that the president should adjust the time till 3 p.m. so that they can also attend to their prayers for today. And that is why I think the presence here for now is a bit calm. We hope to see more of people coming in, and also lawmakers coming in, let's say from 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. when the president is going to arrive here. All
right, Idong Joseph, thank you so much for the update on that, and definitely we'll see how the turnout is around 2, 3, and News Central will be keeping the audience abreast of the situation. All right, now the National Caucus of Nigeria's ruling All Progressives Congress has met in Abuja, bringing together party leaders, governors, and top government officials. And of course, News Central State House correspondent Bettina Nwili joins us now for the recap of the APC caucus meeting. Bettina, it's great to see you again, even though it's on my screen, but we'll make do with that. What is the update on the meeting so far?
Okay, yesterday we are aware that the APC caucus meeting held yesterday. It spanned into late in the night, and yesterday's meeting was the first meeting that marked the first session chaired by the newly appointed National Chairman, Ntawe Wilder. The entire population of people that came for that meeting were of the opinion that APC is gaining ground around the country in terms of getting members into their political party. Now, according to the Vice President, the entire South-South region in Nigeria is now APC bound, and the whole of the North Central, out of 7 states in the Northwest, 5 are already in APC. Now, out of 6 states in the Southwest, we also have 4 who are in the APC, and out of 6 states in the Northeast, 4 are already in the APC. Now, according to the Senate President, steps have been taken to make bold decisions aimed at deterring those who want to join banditry, one of which is they have ensured that kidnapping now will join the rank and file of terrorism, and therefore kidnappers will now face a death sentence should that be signed into the new bill, should that bill be signed into the new law by the president. Also, the president made mention of local government autonomy and state policing, talking about how he's waiting for the Senate to give a go-ahead so that state policing can become a thing. We all know what has happened in the country with insecurity, and that is something that he's also paying attention to.
All right, Bettina, thank you for giving us the update on that, and we'll keep our eyes glued to the screen to find out what more updates come out of that meeting. Now, residents of Uborodo community in Warri Southwest local government area, Delta State, have staged a protest against Chevron Nigeria Limited, citing neglect, marginalization in employment, and failure to implement key provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act. All right, now News Central's correspondent Austin Azu joins us for more on this story. Austin, thanks for bringing the updates and following this story. What specific updates do you have for us regarding this so far?
Hey, good afternoon, Blessing. From what you rightly stated so far, the residents of the Uborodo community in Warri Southwest local government area of Delta State have staged a peaceful protest over what they tagged as alleged marginalization of their community. And of course, they have lamented over the years that the IOCs operating in their community has failed to live up to their social responsibilities in terms of employment, in terms of corporate social responsibilities, like providing pipe-bomb water, securing the erosion that is encroaching into their community, and so on, that these multinational oil companies have paid lip services to their demands. Hence, they went to barricade their entrance. They started on Tuesday just to press home their demands that until their demands are met, they will not vacate the area. But between Tuesday and now, for what we gathered so far, that the concerned individuals have reached out to them, and we gathered so far that there is ongoing closed-door meeting at Uborodo at the moment. So we are yet to find out what the meeting seeks to, if the meeting will be able to address their concerns or if they are going to vacate the premises of Chevron. But we are keeping our tab on the ongoing development to find out if this will actually put an end to this alleged marginalization they have cried over the years. And not only that as well, some other communities within the region here have been crying this issue of marginalization. And it seems that these IOCs, multinational oil companies, are not really paying more attention to the issue of their social responsibilities. And most of the times, these IOCs have actually come under the platform of the PIA, that is the PIA that is going to address those issues. But the community has said no, that the PIA that has been passed, that they are not feeling the impact of the PIA, that they should come and discuss with the community themselves, not representatives elected by some individuals who begin to liaise with them. Don't forget to that at some time we have done a report whereby some ethnic nationality in the state have come together to say, okay, since our communities are not being heard, now these are representatives from the kingdoms that will be engaging the IOCs to ensure they're able to meet up with their social responsibilities. And if you go within the region at this point in time, you see a lot of environmental degradation. You see a lot of spillages and so on and so forth, caused by sometimes either by third party or by vandals and so on and so forth. And the community, most of them who don't even know what these issues are all about, will now start bearing the brunt. And hence, this BIA seeks to address them. But most of the IOCs are not, according to what the communities are saying, that they need to come down to the communities themselves and meet with the representatives, discuss with them, have their own plans so that they'll be able to meet them halfway, so that we'll be able to address the issues affecting them. And of course, if you go into the hinterland, you'll discover that the environment is highly saturated with hydrocarbon, and these hydrocarbon are toxic to the system. And most of the time, we discover that a lot of them within those areas will begin to have these symptoms of cancer, diseases, and so on and so forth. And based on this, it's equally discovered that they drink this water, that this pollution is being pumped into, and this water becomes toxic to them as well.
Okay,
and
Austin.
You see a lot of waterborne diseases and so on and so forth.
All right, Austin, we'll come back to have this conversation, but please just stay on standby. We want to take a look at the visuals. So let's take the report, that you put together. Now, amid the carnival-like atmosphere with women, youths, and elders involved, Chevron officers responded on site, and we will be taking this question with Austin. But in the meantime, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, just stay with us.
Youth, women, and community leaders under the Borodo community banner barricaded access roads and temporarily shut down some Chevron facilities, disrupting operations as they demanded urgent intervention from the federal government and relevant regulatory agencies. Security operatives are on the ground to monitor the situation and maintain law and order. Addressing journalists at the scene, Emmanuel Onwaje, chairman of the Borodo Management Committee, and Raymond Pira, secretary general of the Shekere National Youth Council, accused Chevron of failing to provide adequate employment opportunities to qualified indigents, despite hosting operations in the community for decades.
You see this yard here? There are thousands of people working in this place, making millions, either in job or in contract or empowerment. But there is a complete neglect of the host community. They have neglected the Borodo for only God knows when, how long it has been. Not for employment, not for contracts. And even if they manage to even employ our people as contract or what we call lebu, you bring them in, even these people goes in there to do the same job with people that they bring in from Lekki, they pay them different salaries. They will tell you that these are Lekki employee, these are Lekki employment, these are community. All these are the things we are facing in this community.
Ever since Chevron take over from Gulf, the operation is very rough for the community. We don't benefit anything. During the time of Gulf, we benefit light, we benefit water, employment on daily basis. But when Chevron take over, everything go down. And we keep fighting up to date, no response from Chevron.
We are appealing to the federal government to prevail into the issue, to talk to Chevron, to advise them to answer the community.
So we are calling on the nation, we are calling on all top-ranking Chevron personnel to come to this place so that we can resolve and get out of this place. Okay. Outside that, we will not live here.
Chevron Nigeria Limited says it's aware of the concerns raised and is engaging relevant stakeholders to address the issues. In Borodo, for News Central, Austin Azu.
All right, we want to quickly hear from Austin, who has been covering this story. Austin, we can tell that the people are obviously disgruntled. Has there been any response from the oil company themselves or even the authorities?
Yes, before we went on that break, I was trying to establish the fact that the the Chevron Nigeria Limited has been able to organize themselves to ensure they are able to meet with the people. But what we've gathered so far that there's ongoing conversation, ongoing indoor meeting at Borodo community. Borodo is quite far from Warri, about 3 hours on the high sea before you get to Borodo. So the meeting was gathered that is ongoing. But however, the details of the meeting will be made known to the press to get to the general public. But from what we gathered so far, that if the meeting should go the way is expected, the protesters have bid to vacate the premises of the IOC's entrance and thereafter to give them the go-ahead for them to go and do their operations. For the past few days, we understood that the operation has been granted. So obviously, they are trying to find a way to solve this issue so that they will go back to the operation. Of course, you know that that particular oil flow station and other multinational oil establishments in terms of drilling the oil and exporting the are situated within those houses. So they don't want anywhere those production could be halted. Hence, they are meeting with them to solve these issues so that there will be a way forward. All
right, Dustin, if you can hear me, I sincerely apologize, but we'll need to move on now and quickly go on a break. But thank you for the update so far. You're still live with us on the 12 Report, and we've heard from Austin regarding the Chevron situation. We'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on the 12 Report. Now, presidential nominees for the leadership of Nigeria's key petroleum regulatory agencies have assured the Senate that strengthening local production will be their top priority. Appearing before the Senate Joint Committee on Petroleum Resources, the nominees for the upstream and downstream regulatory commissions pledged to limit fuel importation to a mere stopgap measure. News Central's Sagir Ibrahim reports.
Joint Committee on Petroleum Resources grilled two critical nominees tasked with steering the nation's oil and gas sector. Saidu Mohammed, nominated as Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and Orishemeyiwa Eyeson, designated to head the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, faced the lawmakers to defend their competence. Responding to concerns about Nigeria's reliance on fuel imports, the nominees say that regulatory decisions must prioritize national interest and domestic refining and pledge to eliminate sector opaqueness by using digitalization to ensure accountability for every barrel of oil produced.
We have to protect our local investment because if local refining, we have been yearning for it. There was a time in this country where the 3 local refineries were the ones meeting our demand. As a matter of fact, the 4th refinery that came into Port Harcourt was for export. And that's why we built the Boni Export Terminal. The products were supposed to be exported, and behold, we started exporting.
You must analyze real numbers. And if you don't have a digitized system in today's operation, you are losing money, you are wasting money. So these are areas that we must focus on.
Committee members expressed optimism about the appointments, noting that the nominees possess the requisite experience to stabilize the volatile industry.
We are joining you, congratulating Mr. President, congratulating Nigeria for having you to lead this very important sector, very critical, more especially this time around where we are in serious need of to boost our energy production in order to maximize our revenue.
I am very happy with Mr. President for the appointment of both of you. Very well educated, very experienced, very apt. You are like the round peg in a round hole. They've said so many good things about you, both the ones you've done and the expected ones. I have no fears that they are wrong.
The confirmation of both nominees is expected to follow shortly at plenary, setting the stage for a new regulatory regime in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. From the National Assembly, Abuja, for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
President Bola Tinubu has reconstituted the board of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, appointing Musiliu Oseni as chairman following confirmation by the Senate. Oseni, a long-serving commissioner and former vice chairman, will lead the board effective December 1st, 2025. in accordance with the Electricity Act. Now, Yusuf Ali was named vice chairman, while experienced hands, including Nathan Shati, Dafe Akpeneye, Aisha Bello, and Chidi Ike, return as commissioners. The reconstituted board blends continuity with fresh leadership as Fuad Animashal joins for his first term. The move signals renewed focus on regulation and stability in Nigeria's power sector. A new chapter opens in Nigeria's media space as broadcaster Morayo Afolabi Brown officially launches MAB Studios. The media personality says the studio represents a bold leap into the future, driven by purpose, passion, and a desire to create meaningful content. Basidia Igwekuli reports from Lagos.
Supporters, industry leaders, and well-wishers gathered for the unveiling of MAB Studios, a media platform founded by Morayo Brown.
It's a show like none other. It's very energetic, it's very passionate, and it's about Nigerian people.
At the event, Morayo reflected on her journey, describing her decision to step away from her previous role as a leap of faith, inspired by purpose and the drive to make an impact.
I'm creating a talk show not just to talk, but to give back. To give back to people, to help people, not just, we're tired of talking about the problems. People automatically thought that I was getting a political appointment. I don't blame them, because the average Nigerian is not expected to have a dream. You're just expected to wait, relax, and let somebody from government link you up and give you a position. That's the Nigerian dream. Call somebody in Abuja now, they'll sort you out. That's the normal rhetoric here. But I took a different turn, said that I need to bring this dream alive.
Partners and guests at the launch shared messages of goodwill, expressing confidence in the studio's potential to contribute meaningfully to Nigeria's media landscape.
Morayo Afolabi Brown, a trailblazer whose voice has inspired millions through her incisive interviews, bold commentary, and unwavering commitment to truth, has launched the Morayo Show. And we at News Central are honored to announce ourselves as proud partners in this extraordinary venture. At News Central, our mission has always been to deliver news with integrity and relevance. So we are always bridging the gap between what's happening and what matters. Partnering with Morayo Show allows us to supercharge that mission. Together, this show will inspire some, provoke thoughts, spark discussions, may even agitate some, but it will definitely be the talk of the town. This is News Central's investing in the future of media, where bold ideas meet fearless execution.
MAB Studios' flagship talk show will begin airing on News Central Television from January 5th, Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. With its launch, the studio marks its entry into Nigeria's evolving media scene, built on vision, partnership, and the courage to start anew. The journey ahead promises innovative storytelling and a space for sharing, growth, and empowerment.
Now, the Plateau State Governor Khaled Mutwang has restated his administration's commitment to people-centered policies and labor-friendly policies that will improve education and development in the state. The governor, represented by his deputy Josephine Pio, spoke at the 18th National Delegates Conference of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics with the theme, Migrating from Trade Unionism to Management, Harnessing the Benefits in Role Changes for the Next Stage of the Struggle. Our correspondent, Chizoba Aniwi, reports.
This is the highest decision-making body of all polytechnic institutions in Nigeria. The delegates say they are here to brainstorm on issues of interest to the union on how best to pilot the affairs of polytechnics in Nigeria. Governor Mutwang, represented at the event by his deputy, describes the meeting as a legacy of intellectual dialogue for more progressive, modern and inclusive labor movement.
It's not only timely but visionary. It reflects a deep understanding that the future of labor leadership will no longer depend solely on agitation, but on innovation, collaboration, strategic thinking, and management expertise.
Among the challenges facing the union include the non-establishment of a regulatory body for polytechnics, unlike other tertiary institutions, among others.
Among the three legs of the tertiary institution, the university have a national commission for university. The College of Education have a commission, National Commission for College of Education. But the Polytechnics is the only tertiary institution, sector in the tertiary institution that does not have a commission. So one of our agitation is that the Polytechnic should be allowed to mount dual mode, that is ND and BTech.
Therefore, the challenges before us is not whether such transition should not happen. They are inevitable. The real question is how do we harness the benefits inherent in these rule changes to advance the next stage of the struggle for the stronger polytechnic sector.
The delegates are hopeful that the resolutions reached here will receive speedy attention that will improve administration activities in polytechnics across the country. In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyoe.
And now to some business stories. Nigeria's business environment is expected to strengthen steadily over the next 6 months, with confidence projected to rise to one of its highest levels in recent years. This is according to the CBN's November 2025 Business Expectations Survey. Business confidence stood at 37.5 index points in November and is forecast to climb to 52.8 points by mid-2026, signaling stronger economic activity. Optimism cut across sectors led by industry, while mining and quarrying topped confidence in own operations. Regionally, the Northeast was most optimistic. Despite the positive outlook, businesses flagged insecurity, high taxes, poor power supply, and high interest rates as major constraints to sustained growth. The World Bank is expected to approve a $500 million loan for Nigeria to expand access to finance for micro, small, and medium enterprises through the FinClude project. The facility, to be implemented by the Development Bank of Nigeria, aims to mobilize private capital, deploy innovative financial products, and strengthen credit guarantees for MSMEs. Of the funding, $400 million will come from the IBRD and $100 million from the IDA, while commercial lenders are expected to provide $1.89 billion. The bank said the project aligns with Nigeria's ongoing economic reforms, but warned that MSMEs still face major financing gaps. Economists stress that effective utilization will determine its long-term impact. Still live with us on the 12 Report. We're going on a short break, and when we come back, more stories. Stay with us. And out to the foreign scene, the news continues in North Africa, where the United Nations has said more than 1,000 civilians were killed in Sudan's Darfur region after a paramilitary group overran a major displacement camp earlier this year. According to a report released by the UN Human Rights Office, the killings occurred during an assault on the Zamzam displacement camp between April 11 and 13. The camp, located in western Darfur, is home to nearly 500,000 people displaced by Sudan's ongoing civil war. The report states that about 1/3 of the victims were summarily executed, raising serious concerns of war crimes. It also reveals that for months before the attack, the Rapid Support Forces, a Sudanese paramilitary group, had blocked food and humanitarian supplies from entering the camp, worsening famine conditions for residents. A new phase of legal proceedings has begun in Guinea over the 2009 stadium massacre, one of the darkest chapters in the country's history. 7 additional defendants appeared in court on Thursday in Conakry, accused of involvement in the brutal crackdown on an opposition rally held on September 28, 2009. According to a United Nations mandated inquiry, at least 156 people were killed during the attack, with victims shot or stabbed using knives, machetes, and bayonets at a stadium on the outskirts of the capital. Hundreds more were injured, while at least 109 women were raped. The report also documented days of continued abuses, including sexual violence against women held captive and the torture of detainees. European Union leaders have approved a €90 billion loan to help Ukraine pay for its defense and budget needs over the next 2 years. The deal came at an EU summit in Brussels after long talks. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed the decision, saying it truly strengthens the country's resilience. However, EU nations could not agree to use frozen Russian state assets worth about €210 billion to fund the loan now because the funds are held in Belgium, which blocked the plan over legal and financial risks. The loan will be backed by the EU's common budget and borrowing, not Russian assets, but the EU says it may still use them later for the repayment if Russia ever pays war reparations.
In October, we decided that the European Union would cover Ukraine's pressing financial needs for 2026 and 2027. Last week, we decided that Russia would not get its assets back until Moscow ends its aggression. Today, we approved a decision to provide €90 billion to Ukraine for the next 2 years.
Ukraine would only need to pay back the loan once it receives reparations. Until then, the immobilized Russian assets will remain immobilized, and the Union reserves its right to make use of the cash balances to finance the loan.
Now, when Nigerians hear about shake-ups in the oil sector, it can sound distant, like another Abuja or corporate drama. But the reality is very different. Oil policy touches everyday life, whether people notice it or not. Now, from fuel stations to transport fares, from market prices to electricity bills, the oil sector quietly shapes how expensive life feels. I'm sure you have been following the story. Recent resignations and allegations and accusations, but the major focus is the recent resignation of top oil regulators linked to tensions around the Dangote refinery. Is not just about who controls the sector or who's angry with who. It's about the smooth delivery of fuel across the country to you. Now, when regulators clash with major players, uncertainty creeps in. Marketers hesitate, supply chains slow down. Nigerians feel the result almost immediately. And you know what they say about when two elephants fight? Price changes, scarcity feels, and anxiety at the pump. Now, for the average commuter, this means that fares may spike overnight. A bus ride, for example, that costs 500 naira yesterday can cost 700 naira today or more. And Okada rides adjust prices without warning. Traders factor higher transport costs into food prices, and a basket of tomatoes or other staples suddenly becomes more expensive. And let's not forget, it's a season of festivities. Small businesses, tailors running generators, hairdressers, powering salons, cold room operators storing food also feel the impact. Their operating costs would definitely rise, and they pass it on to customers, creating a ripple effect that hits every single person, not one exempted, especially the low-income households. Now, President Tinubu's nomination of new oil sector leaders is being watched closely. And remember, I said this is not even about the drama. Nigerians are hoping for reforms that translate into steady fuel supply, clear rules, and price stability. And until that happens, the oil sector's instability continues to determine the cost of living every single day. So as you scroll on social media or watch the news, don't get carried away by the drama, but instead focus on how this affects you. And let's keep speaking up. That's your postscript. Now, before we go, let's take a look at what's happening in the sporting world. In the boxing world today, power meets hype over 8 rounds as former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua seeks redemption in Miami. And Onyechi Obaro is on standby to give us the details. Onyechi, what's up?
Yes, of course. All road leads to Miami, where Anthony Joshua will be up against the YouTuber Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua has come in 27 pounds heavier than Jake Paul, but there'll be a big decider to know if Joshua's career would be on the line after this bout in Miami. We would do the tail of the tape on our show In the Game at 1 p.m.
Most definitely, you've heard it. Stay tuned on In the Game. And that's all on the 12 report for today. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen because we want to see what you see. Do also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Masugu.